Hello, welcome to my Eurovision Semi-Final Thoughts Part 1 of 2023. As you are probably aware of if you've stuck around on this channel long enough, I like to make sort of reviews of each semi-final and the grand final every single year that I watch Eurovision. I am a very avid Eurovision fan. I am obsessed and have been since I was a little child. As long as I can remember, really, it's a big thing sort of in my family that we did together, and that's never really gone away for me. So I wrote down a lot for the first semi-final. Usually like the semi-finals are all right, just a few notes here or there about each number, but I've got pages and pages worth. So I'm gonna crack right on with it because it's gonna be a long video, I reckon. As of when I am filming this, it is Thursday, and tonight we will have part 2. Not me filming, obviously, but we'll be watching it. So, you know, we're not very far into it. We haven't watched like the grand final or anything yet. I can't sort of make a statement about the performances in the grand final or in the second semi-final, but that'll be in the next few videos, I'm sure. Now, just before I begin, this year, for the first time in quite a lot of years, actually, I was in Holland during the Eurovision thing. I'm currently in Holland. And it's been so nice being here because usually, first of all, in Australia, it was never a thing. No one celebrated it. No one talked about it. It was nothing really. Don't even get me started about the fact that Australia are in the Eurovision. I'm not a fan, but that's okay. We'll get over it. But then after Australia, I was also in England for a few years. And again, it's not really a huge thing in England. And like not a lot of people care about it. Not a lot of people talk about it. You don't really get the whole like atmosphere of Eurovision week or anything like that, or the lead up. So I hype myself up. I follow various things on different social medias to hype myself up, but it's just not the same. Whereas here, there is so much hype, and like every day on the TV, multiple times a day, I'd be seeing something at least about it, whether it's just the Dutch entry song or someone talking about it or about sort of what's happening in the UK, because obviously it's being hosted in the UK this year, etc., etc. So I have very much enjoyed being here and following that lead up and feeling that sort of hype for it. Also, another thing I wrote before was I really want Holland to do well. That is just how I feel every year. I always want Holland to do well. It is the country I root for, and that's never gonna go away. Then I wrote, so nervous, I'm so excited, I can't believe it's in the UK. That is crazy to me, and I'm really annoyed. And the reason I'm annoyed is because we've now had 3 years in a row, well, kind of in a row, where I could have potentially gone. Actually, almost 4 if you include COVID, because I've got family in the places it's been. And it's now the 4th year that it's been in a good location for me. Like, I would have someone to stay with, and I haven't gone. And I'm just like, why does this keep happening? Things just keep cropping up. But it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen some year. And even if it's not in one of the countries I know and love, it'll just have to be, I'll just have to go somewhere, you know? And I'm cool with that. I like traveling. And the next thing I wrote, there was a little video of a kid who saw that like UK was gonna host the Eurovision and was telling everyone, and everyone was so excited about it. And I just wrote, people in Liverpool did not care about Eurovision this much. Like, until it was announced that it was going to be there, I don't think there would have been this much hype. And then I just wrote, here we go! And then I wrote, yeah, I was waiting for more Ukraine, so glad to see it. Don't really know what that was about, but obviously they showed something or did something or said something, I don't know. And then I wrote, and I still stick with this, it shouldn't really be about Liverpool. Because like in a lot of the first few shots, there were things about Liverpool, and I was just like we're hosting it, but we're doing them a favor. And I feel like it was too, and this is something that will keep cropping up, I feel like it was too UK-centric. They did try to incorporate Ukrainian things, but I feel like it should have had much more of a focus on the Ukraine rather than on the UK. Anyway, then I wrote, ha ha ha, Charles and Camilla. And then I just wrote, ah! And then the video clip finished, and it started with the kid on stage, and I just wrote, the kid is there! And then I wrote, cute dancing. Why do I know this song? Still don't know why. Then when the singer started singing and everyone applauded, I just wrote, do I know who that is? Because I didn't think I did. And then I just wrote, well, it's not English, so hopefully Ukraine. This is also something that will keep cropping up. I just wrote, fire! Because every time I see fire, I'm like, ooh, fire! Then I wrote, cool dancing. Surely should have been Ukraine hosts. I still agree with this. I know we had 1. But I think easily they could have at least had 2 rather than 2 UK. I felt like that was again one of those things where I was like, Ukraine won. This is Ukraine's celebration. We're just hosting it because Ukraine can't right now. Like I say, this is gonna crop up a lot. Look at this. Then I wrote, I want to be there so bad, sad face. One day I will go. And then I said about Hannah Waddingham's dress, I like her dress. And then whilst Hannah Waddingham was speaking French, I was like, I'm gonna open Twitter, you know, just to have it there. I feel like it's a comedy fest usually. And then this really made me sad. They were saying about the Big Six, who obviously aren't gonna perform until the finals. And there was huge cheer for UK, like massive, unbelievable, naturally, because, you know, it's in the UK. And there was like hardly any cheer for Ukraine. And I was just like, well, come on, guys. This is not how it should be. Now the next point I made is basically my grandparents were watching something else on TV. So I had it up on my laptop, but I was sat here because I knew at some point they were going to change it. But what my grandma was doing was she was flicking between. So like every time there were ads in the TV show they were watching, she'd flick to the Eurovision. But the Eurovision on TV was like a good few seconds ahead of my laptop. And I was like, what am I doing? Anyway, I managed to sort of figure out how to navigate that eventually. All right, Norway. I wrote, great opening, so Eurovision. I like it already. Her costume feels very Marvel. This could be in 6. I really like it. Wow, that screech, which is like the high note. I could definitely do a cardio workout to this. I loved this. I really, really enjoyed it. It totally felt like it could have come out of like a more modern musical. And I was very happy, spoiler alert, that it went through. Malta, fantastic start. I like the colors, relatable. This is great. I love this. This is brilliant. In brackets, I love Eurovision so much. Wait, what? How/when did they get changed? Because they went from like these colorful jumpers to like sparkly things, and I didn't see that happen. I love this, so cute. That was about like the hug at the end because they were so excited and I was like, oh. I was sad they didn't go through. On to Serbia. It's cool to have been to that place in Liverpool. Oh yeah, on the postcard I think they showed like Tate Gallery or something. And I was like, hey, I've been there. And then I also, only at that point did I realize what they were doing with the like flag in the seats, and I was like, that's really cool. And then I wrote, not such a fan of it yet. It is a performance which I like. Nope, this one isn't for me, sorry. Latvia. My sister just messaged me to say that they lost their suitcases. That's quite funny. I'm horrible. But yeah, they apparently, I don't know if this is true, I didn't look it up, but apparently they lost their suitcases on the way to the UK, which is like quite funny, but also quite sad. I do feel bad for them. And then I just wrote, no, sorry, this one's also not really for me. Then during the break, they were talking about Liverpool and they said, you will not find a friendlier city. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I've been to a few cities that are friendlier than Liverpool. And then they were like, can you believe it's not been in the UK since 1998? And I was like, I definitely can. The rap bit was great. I loved the rap and I'm going to learn it. Oh, well, yeah, so I wrote, rapping is great. This is fantastic. I'm learning this rap. And then at the end, they were doing a cheer of like, Liverpool, Liverpool. And I was like, no, it shouldn't be Liverpool. It should be Ukraine, Ukraine. Like, I seem to be the only one who thinks this. No one on Twitter said anything, but maybe people are just happy that the UK is getting recognition. I don't know. But just personally, it feels wrong. Portugal, strong start. Love the dancing and the costumes. Yeah, I'm a fan. Not necessarily of the song, but of the performance. Yes, knee roll. One of the dancers did like a knee roll. I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah, I like this. And again, I'm glad that one went through. Ireland, and then in brackets I've written, so far it's already been very strong. I'm even more nervous about Holland. So that was just about like the last few performances. I was like, wow, everything's been quite good so far. Holland doesn't really stand a chance here. Anyway, the lead singer looked a lot like a boss I've had in the past, like who I've worked for, and I was like, this is really weird. I wrote, sweet message, but not really a song for me. I'm worried about his voice. It was sounding like it was not there. Or wasn't going to stay there. Again, I wrote fire! Then I wrote, it is catchy though, and a nice harmony at the end. For Croatia, the name of the song came up and I was like, does that say Mama Se? Because the band I used to love, Gazri, did a song called Mama Se, and I used to love it, and it was like, Mama Se, Mama Se, Mama Saka Mumba. Anyway, I was like, oh, no way, they're gonna do that. But they did not do that. That was my next point. Never mind. Then I wrote, what is this? I don't feel good about this. Nope, not a fan. What is happening? Welcome to Eurovision, I guess. Cool fire things though. Welcome to Eurovision. That's, I think, like the motto of Croatia. Switzerland. Sweet start. I like the piano underneath, like the music. This is a radio song, but it's not bad. Nice dancing. I'm going to learn that dance. Don't know what that is. And then on the TV, like because again, we were on the TV and the voiceover people said, it's very safe. And I was like, I agree with that. It's a very safe choice. And like, it was fine, but it was nothing special. Israel. Again, over the voiceover, they said that she also acts and dances, and I was like, right, she's a musical person, so I'm already a fan of that. And then I also wrote, apparently she's like been really high on the books for like people expected to do well, so I'm curious about that. All right, here we go, here are my notes. Strong opening musically. Well, you can tell she's a dancer from the opening pose. Cool box, good voice. Yes, dancer friend, because a dancer came. And then I wrote friends, because more dancers came. Cool dancing, of course, there's a rap something bit. Let's see her dance then, because she was like, do you want to see me dance? And I was like, well, come on, let's see you dance. And then I said, yep, fair enough. And cool. Then Moldova. Now, if you've been watching me in the past few years, I love Moldova. Usually I'm a big fan. I'm a big supporter of what they send in. So the first thing I wrote was, come on Moldova, do me proud. And then I wrote, definitely interesting start, giving me more Azerbaijan vibes. Oh, well, that's fantastic. That was the flute bit. He reminds me of someone. The lead singer, I think, reminded me of someone, but I don't know who. Not my favorite, but I don't dislike it. Okay, on to Sweden. I'm excited to see Loreen again. There she is. Oof, those nails. The start of this reminds me of something, but I don't know what. Giving Euphoria vibes. I don't think it's anything special though, but she does have a good voice. I was actually discussing this earlier today with my father, who is like the biggest Eurovision fan in our family. And I was like, of course she went through because it's Loreen and it's Sweden. They very rarely don't go through, but it really wasn't a standout for me and I don't want it to do very well. Like, I don't think it deserves to do so well just because there are so many stronger acts in my opinion, and it is gonna do well because it's Sweden and because it's Loreen. It is gonna do well, and I don't know, I just feel iffy about that. Azerbaijan. The title, I think, of the song was We Go Together, because the first note I've got written is, no, that should be Greece. Haha. Get it? Because Greece, the musical, Greece, the country, ha! Anyway, it's alright, but nothing special. Not bad. Good harmony. Sweet. Czech Republic. In brackets, I really love these postcards. That was just a general note. Is this toy, but make it Czech/Bulgarian/Ukrainian? Yeah, because they were like, I'm not your doll. And I was like, this is just basically toy. Surely their hair gets in the way. Oh yeah, because they had the like long hair. Nice movements. Like the Fist of Power. Oh, I like the Fist of Power. And it was nothing amazing, I wrote. Holland. My first note is just, my heart is beating so fast. Please let them go through. Hit the falsetto well. Oh no, that's a point. He did hit the falsetto well. Right, I thought they were singing in Dutch, but apparently not. Yes, so on the TV the last few days, I've seen various clips of them singing and like only short bits. And every time it played, I thought they were singing in Dutch. Turns out it was in English. Something to say about their diction, maybe? I don't know. She's got an interesting voice. It's not bad, but it's not my style. It's a specific style that is very popular at the moment and for some people, but not for me. I like the turntable. I just don't think it's special enough, well sung, and it's very similar to Arcade. Now we know that Duncan Lawrence also helped with this song, and that's probably why it sounds so similar, but it was just, yeah, nothing special. But to be fair, I didn't think Arcade was anything special, but obviously the viewers did, so that's good. At the time. Finland. Apparently this one is also very popular, so I'm very intrigued. Wow, the cheering. When they came on, it was like huge. Oh, okay, we're going for that voice. Because it was like this deep, raspy voice. I was like, oh, that's not what I was expecting, but all right. This is something. Really? This is popular? Good dancing. Once again, welcome to Eurovision. Oh, I like the gold lighting. Rainbow! So much rainbow, yes! Those are my notes. All right, then at that point, it stopped. And they obviously did a recap and they opened the voting. So I always make two lists. I make a want and an expect. So in the wants, it's not always necessarily the best numbers. It's also always going to be Holland. It's often going to be Belgium if it's in the semi-final. Yeah, there's just a couple of countries that I'm like, usually I want. Moldova sometimes is in there. Israel sometimes, you know, like not necessarily the best numbers. And then my expect is more formed around what I think the public will vote for. So in my wants, I actually only had 5, and actually only 3 of them were songs I actually loved. And those 3 were Norway, Malta, and Portugal. And then the other 2 I had were Israel and Holland, of course. And then my expect list, we're gonna get back to this, but my expect list was Norway, Malta, Portugal, Croatia, Switzerland, Israel, Sweden, Finland, Serbia, and Moldova. And again, with that, I was like, I know Switzerland's going to go through because it's a safe option. I know Sweden's going to go through because it's Loreen. And it wasn't necessarily about like the songs. All right, so then for intermission, I wrote Beautifully Done. There was like a first song with Ukraine I wrote. Oh yeah, because they did like a video thing. I thought it was very good. Lovely harmony at the end and lighting so beautiful. And then I think it started the Rita Ora remix thing. I've never heard of Rita Ora, but we'll get to that as well. But at the very start, there was a dancer or a girl or someone bouncing a ball, and I was like, there is a lot of pressure on bouncing that ball correctly. Yes, then I wrote for Rita Ora. I don't think I know her, but I recognize this song. That was about Just Take Me Anywhere. And then I wrote in brackets, Eurovision is so ridiculous, but I love it so much. And then I wrote, oh, I know the song too, and that was for the I will never let you down, oh, oh, oh. I think that was it. That's what I've written anyway. Then I wrote, ooh, cool dancing from above, because there was like a camera that was like above them. I liked the dancing. And then there was like a history recap, right? So we finished Rita Ora, we've moved on to like a video clip with Graham Norton voicing over it. And I just wrote, I love Graham Norton so much. And then I wrote, ha ha ha, UK getting 0 points, brilliant. Love the UK throwbacks, and I love this history bit. Wow, first country to win 3 times in the 21st century. Incredible for Ukraine. That was about the fact that Ukraine was the first country to do that. And then I wrote, so cute to see him win, like the commentator from Ukraine. I thought that was a very cute reaction. And then at some point randomly, Dustin the Turkey came out. And the second I saw the turkey head, I was like, yes, Dustin the Turkey, he's back. I love this guy. Then the next thing I was commenting on was the game that Muns and, oh, I've forgotten her other name, 2 of the people played about qualifiers. So I wrote, oh, I like this already. And then I wrote, I wasn't born, ha ha ha, because they were talking about 2002 and I thought it was very funny. And then I wrote in brackets, this is reminding me of a show that we did last year in Greece. The way it was laid out, it reminded me a lot because we did a game that was like a video game. No, we did a show that was like a video game. And this just reminded me of that. And then I wrote, there's been no costume changes yet. And I can't remember if usually they all happen in the grand final, like of the hosts, but I hadn't seen any costume changes from the hosts in the semi-final, so I was like, interesting. Then I wrote, love this dancing segment, very funny. So I think Israel, Malta, and there was one other did like a dance section where they taught a little bit from each of their dances, and I thought it was very funny and cute. Then I wrote, I'm enjoying Hannah Waddingham, and then I wrote, very good note from both of them. Oh yeah, because they were doing like the rock voice, and then they were doing like the Hannah high note voice thing as well. Then about France, I wrote, ha ha ha, Mr. Bean, because she mentioned that she was a big fan of Mr. Bean. I was like, that's really random, but okay. And then when I was hearing it, I was like, this could be good, but why is she on a box? It reminded me a little bit of The Sound of Silence that Australia sent in, maybe 2016, I want to say. I was like, you don't need to be on a box, but we'll see. Maybe something will happen. Germany. Yes, Disney mugs. He was talking about his Disney mug collection. I was like, oh, brilliant. Then I wrote, well, costume. I can't remember what his costume was. I don't know if it was like, well, costume, or if it was like, well, costume. So I don't know. And then I just wrote, ouch, voice. So presumably that's more of a rock one as well. Italy. I love the sparkly jacket of the guy sitting behind him. Just how it goes sometimes. This probably will do well, but I'm not a huge fan yet. Now, yet, because it's only a small snippet of the song. So we'll see how we feel about it at the grand final. All right, results time. I wrote, I'm so nervous. Please, Holland. So nervous. I don't think we've got it. When Croatia went through, I was like, what? Croatia, really? But of course, people were like crazy. That's what we come to Eurovision for, so fair enough. Then I wrote, wow, Moldova, I'm happy for them. Of course, Switzerland. So nervous. Of course, Finland. So far, none of my favorites are in, haha. Because a few of the ones I'd guessed were in, but none of the ones I wanted. Then I wrote, what? Why Czech Republic? Then I wrote, I hate this. I hate it because it's not likely. Yay, Israel. Ugh. Oh, I think ugh was like me being stressed, like, Yes, of course, Portugal, and I'm happy for them. Please be Holland, of course Sweden. I hate this. It's going to be Malta and Norway and not us. That was for the final 2. What? No, not Serbia. Well, we've definitely not got it. Ugh, I hate this. It's gonna be Norway, definitely. And it is. And I am happy for them, but sad for Holland. My guess was good though. And we'll get back to this. So I guessed 10 countries that we're gonna go through, and of the 10, I guessed 9 right. I think that's the best I've ever done. I could be mistaken. Maybe there was a year I got them all right, but I think it's unlikely. And I don't think I've ever got as high as 9 out of 10. I could be wrong. So I got 9 out of 10 guesses right, which I'm like super chuffed about. And only 3 of my wants went through, but I did only have 5. So, 60%. Anyway, this video is, as of filming this, almost half an hour long. So that's really great for me. I can't wait to edit it. It's all right. I know I've got a while before this is actually going to go up. So I've got the time to edit it. But this was only part 1. I love making these Eurovision videos. I really am so happy to have them. But it is always so much work. Not for taking notes. I don't mind taking the notes, but it's the filming and then the editing because it just does take so long because I do just have so many thoughts usually to share, which is fine. Like I say, I like doing it, but that's why like last year's Eurovision, the grand final only came out recently, I think, because it was such a commitment to edit and I just didn't want to get started on it. I was like, I can't face that. These at least are a little bit easier to edit because it's only one video. It's not like me trying to get 2 different perspectives. at least for now. Anyway, that's all from me for now, and I'm sure very shortly I'll be seeing you all for the second semi-final and then the grand final as well, which I'm very excited to watch tonight, the semi-final. And actually, this is something I also said to my father this morning. I feel like the first semi-final was really quite strong. Like there were a lot of good ones in there, like really good ones. And I don't know if the second semi-final is gonna be just as strong and that there's gonna be just as much competition, or if it just so happens that this year they've accidentally split it into like really good ones in the first semi-final and actually quite boring ones in the second. But we shall find out tonight. All right, bye.